Welcome back to the Lockwood Chronicles. My name is Larissa, and today we're recommending some vacationing, summer, adventure-y books. So this video, I am going to be recommending books that deal with more people going on vacation or going somewhere else, traveling, if you will. They're not travel guides by any means, but they are travel books. I don't know about you guys, but I love reading about vacations, especially in the summertime. I just love to read books where people go other places. I want to go and travel so many places, but obviously financially that is not realistic. So what better way than to escape into a book that has those travel vibes? Or even better, if you happen to be going to any of these locations, then you can also bring this book along and read it there, and that's just doubly exciting. It's been a minute since I've done a hyper-specific book trope recommendation video, and I figured we're in the last month of summer. I know technically summer doesn't end in August, but for me, beginning September 1st, it's fall. I wanted to really give some recommendations in case you really wanted to push some books up for the summer vibes, or if you are traveling this month, just to get it in before fall hits. I don't have these in any particular order. I pretty much just pulled them off my shelf at random. The books that I have here are all off of my physical TBR, or not TBR, physical books. Let's get to it. I'll try to keep it really brief. Well, I have two nonfiction books that I think would be good to have on this, and that is Wild by Cheryl Strayed. This is one of my favorite books for just the adventure that she goes on, and Cheryl, the author of this book, decided not out of the blue, but she was kind of in a pivotal moment in her life, and so she decided that she was going to hike the Pacific Crest Trail from the Mojave Desert through California and Oregon to Washington State as a solo trip, but she does it with people along the way, meets up with groups of other people that were doing it, but primarily it was a solo trip. Great for the adventure, great for life lessons. The difficulties that she encountered mentally, physically, got me into hiking for the most part. It really inspired me as someone who had never hiked before reading this book to now I love hiking. She was very much learning in the process, and it really showed me that I don't have to be great at something at first or 100% knowledgeable about something to try something new. A really good read. I really loved it, and even better, Reese Witherspoon did the movie based off this, and I love Reese. She is just iconic. Eat, Pray, Love by Elizabeth Gilbert. A crisis moment and wanting to make a change in her life, going to different countries that she wanted to and doing it solo again. Female solo traveler, and I love that so much. Yeah, she just had a complete 180 on the life that she thought she wanted. This one takes place in 3 different cultures. So she goes to Italy, she goes to India, and Bali. The things that she encounters and the life shifts that she has through this too. It's brought up a lot for a reason. Everybody always does an Eat, Pray, Love trip for a reason. That's why it's always said. Shifting gears out of nonfiction into more fiction stuff. And we're gonna start off with Archer's Voice, mainly because it is on top of my huge pile here. Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. I freaking love this book so much. I read it a few years ago now. I forget what her name is, but our girly, she ends up moving very suddenly to this really small town in Maine and happens to meet Archer, who is unable to speak, and he is kind of the town's pariah, if you will. And she ends up striking up a friendship, even though people are like, you should stay away from him. But I just love the small town vibes of it. So precious, and he is just the cutest little innocent man. Just love Archer. Nicholas Sparks. Pretty much any Nicholas Sparks book will do. He pretty much bases all of his books in the Carolinas. And the last song, if you recall, that was Miley Cyrus and Liam. That was their movie. This is about a teenage girl going to this island to hang out with her dad during the summer and going through a lot of teenage changes and paradigm shifts. Again, the beach and the vibes of it is just, it's so peak summer. And if I think about it too much, I will start crying. I am starting to tear up right now. And then the next one, which hopefully I can keep it together, Dear John by Nicholas Sparks as well. Obviously, this is the movie cover. I hate getting the movie cover, but I think it was the only one available at the time. This also takes place in the Carolinas, and John is enlisted into the military, but he is either home, strikes up a summer romance with Savannah. He has to go on tour, and during this time, Savannah writes him a Dear John letter. It's very emotional. Then we have The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. This is just a cozy fantasy romancy about Linus, and he is in charge of making sure that the orphanages that host magical beings are up and running efficiently as well as safely for the children in them. But he gets sent to the house on the Cerulean Sea to undergo inspection of this orphanage that hosts 6 very, very dangerous children. It ends up being just the coziest thing to come about. It's adorable. I love Linus. If you're looking for something more chill to read, this would be a good one. Switching gears like crazy. Let's go to Verity by Colleen Hoover. Not only because the movie is going to be coming out any day now, but like this was such a fun read. I really think that she should stick to more of this psychological thriller genre because I feel like her books generally have that little thrilling aspect to it, those plot twists. So I know this one's technically not a vacation one. She travels to Verity's house. So Lowen is an author and she is going to be ghostwriting the rest of Verity's books or whatever is left on her contract because Verity is incapacitated at the time. And when she gets to the house of the family, she has to write it there just because that's where Verity's home office is, where all of the notes are, manuscripts, everything. So is her husband and children that are there. Creepy things are happening. But I read this when I was on vacation and it was so fun. I flew through it. So The Fury by Alex Michaelides, I wouldn't necessarily say I highly recommend this, but if you're looking for something different, Alex Michaelides is the author of The Silent Patient and The Maidens. The Fury was okay to me. You already go into it knowing someone has died. Lana is, I think, a famous actress? Reclusive ex-movie star, and every year around Easter she goes to her private island in Greece and then she invites a group of people, and the person telling this story, it's like you're sitting down at a bar with a drink and this guy sits down with you and it's just like, you want to hear a story? The writing is a little bit different. I appreciate that he played around with it. It's not my favorite style of narration though. Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. If you've read If There Are None, this one is very highly influenced that way with its own little twist. This takes place at a very tiny island that everybody is being brought back to, I think for a birthday party or something. Oh, for her Nana's birthday party, I believe. The family back together one last time because Nana has always said she's going to die on whatever age that she is turning. Family drama. Daisy is completely ignored by her entire family and it's a very toxic family. And on a remote creepy island. The queen, my favorite author herself, and that is Emily Henry. So we have beach read, we have people we meet on vacation, we have book lovers, we have happy place, and then we have Great Big Beautiful Life. I know we are missing Funny Story, but Funny Story is not about traveling. So that is the only reason why it is not in here, but it is still a fun summer read. So this is January and Gus's story, and January has just lost her father and has been left the cabin up in northern Michigan, I believe. Of course, right next to her happens to be her college rival. They are both authors. Due to the circumstances, they're both kind of experiencing writer's block. So they make a pact that they will write each other's genre. In order for them to successfully do each other's styles, they have to go out on these dates. January, she is a romance author, so she brings Gus on like these romance cutie little dates, and Gus, he's more of a likes to follow historical events, I guess you could call it. He's not a historical fiction, but like for instance in this book he is researching a cult that occurred around. So he's bringing her on the research that happens around there. People we meet on vacation. I'm so freaking excited for this movie. I know people hate this book. This is one of my favorites of her. It goes happy place, people we meet on vacation. I had so much fun reading it. I could visualize it. Past and present timeline. Alex and Poppy, they are best friends in college. They meet in college and then they decide every summer they take a summer trip, and that's the thing that they look forward to the most. And they've taken one every single year for years on end. So you get to experience the flashback of these summers, as well as they had a falling out and it has been a couple of years since they've been in contact. Poppy is going through like a little bit of a life slump with her job. She loves her job. She works at a travel magazine, but it's not hitting the same. So she decides that she wants to do a trip with Alex to see if they can rekindle their friendship again. Book lovers. So this is Nora and Charlie. Nora is a very busy New York girly. Is she a literary agent? Yes, she's very cutthroat throat. Her sister Libby is about to give birth again, and so Libby is like, can we please just take one more trip before the chaos ensues? And so they go to Sunshine Falls because that is part of their, it is a town that one of their favorite books is based in. So very small town. Charlie also works in the book world, and they've had a few like work things going on. It's even more fun that when they show up in Sunshine Falls, guess who's there? Charlie Lastra. It was so cute and fun, and just the relationship between her sister as well. And then let's get to my favorite read by Emily Henry, and that is Happy Place. Oh my gosh. This one is primarily based on the friend group, but it is also a book about Harriet and Wynne, who were engaged. They met, everybody became friends in college, and they just really formed a really tight-knit group. And they always went to this little house, this little, not house, it's a Maine cottage, but like rich people cottage, you know? Harriet and Wynne were engaged, and then they broke off their engagement and haven't told their friend group. When Harriet gets there, Wynne wasn't supposed to be there, and she was supposed to break the news. However, when she turns up, Wynne is there. He is pretending that they are still engaged. The vibes of this book is so fun. I want to go to Maine so bad now. So I can experience what they've been experiencing. The friendships in this are what stand this apart from anybody. Great Big Beautiful Life. And I know there is a lot of mixed reviews on this one. I thought this one was okay. I liked it. We definitely don't get enough of either story that's in here. This one is Alice and Hayden, and they are going to this small little crescent island. They're going there to interview Margaret, each separately. Reclusive, Hollywood tabloid girly way back when. She is an heiress, a tabloid princess, all of that stuff, and her story is kind of wild. Alice and Hayden are competing to see who gets to write her story in the end. Abby Jimenez, Just for the Summer. Her other books may or may not count. This one I think counts the most towards this vacationing vibe. Emma and Justin are both cursed with the good luck Chuck syndrome of every person that they date and then break up with, they find their next person, like the person that they're going to marry. And they meet on a Reddit thread, and Emma is a traveling nurse, and Justin lives in Minnesota in the cities, which is always so fun for me to read. So they decide that they should date, and maybe by the end of summer when they break off, it'll cancel out the curse. Instead of going elsewhere for travel nursing, her and her best friend are traveling to Minnesota. They're staying on a little island at somebody's rich place. I think they're staying on Lake Minnetonka. I can't remember fully, but it is a little private island that they have out there, and you can only get to it by boat. The dates that they go on are so cute. Justin is such book boyfriend gold here. He is amazing. Highly enjoyed it. It's a great summer read. The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings. And our girlie, she's traveling back to South Carolina for her father's funeral. Georgia and her brother have been kind of exiled by their family for the most part. Nobody really gets along. The fun thing about this one is Georgia is able to read people very, very well. She's a human lie detector. Body language, facial expressions, and it is so fascinating being in her mind. Okay, this one I'm gonna cheat with because I want to. Because it's really great, especially if you're going to California, and that is Malibu Rising. This is about the Riva's annual summer bash following Mick Riva's 4 children. And we meet Mick Riva in not Daisy Jones. I think we do see him in Daisy Jones, but in Evelyn Hugo, we get to meet his children and his family and focus on them and their dynamic. The Hotel Nantucket by Ellen Hildebrand. I'm pretty sure you can read any Ellen Hildebrand book and it will give the same vibes, but I've only read 2 of her books, and this one is the one I would recommend the most. The Hotel Nantucket, this takes place on the island of Nantucket, and it is a hotel that we go in there, and we follow a bunch of different people, hotel staff primarily, and then there's a ghost haunting the hotel, and we get to see how everything connects to one another. I want to go to Nantucket so badly, especially after reading this, and just see everything that was discussed in here. You would have seen this in my monthly wrap up for July, but I read These Summer Storms by Sarah McLean. Primarily follow Alice, but Alice has been exiled for 5 years by her dad, and her dad has recently passed away. So she is going back to this little island. She has not spoken to her family in 5 years. She has 3 siblings and her mom and her dad. They are billionaires. Billionaires with a B. Like, think of him as a Steve Jobs tech guy. They always spent the summers on this island, and her father, his whole life was just wanting to control somebody else. They're there for the funeral, but they're also tasked with completing this list of things that their father has left for them to do. If they do not complete them in the week, they will not gain access to their inheritance. It is a subplot of romance that is very a heavy subplot, and it is so great. I love it so much. The tension, the romance, everything, and just being on this island, the descriptors of the island. I want to say, like, these inheritance games aren't deadly by any means. They are games nonetheless. The Catch by Amy Lee. This is the third book in the Influencer series. They're interconnected. You don't have to read the other ones to read this one. So this is about Melanie, and she is a fashion influencer, primarily on Instagram. She is trying to rescue her brand for the most part. She's on the brink of irrelevance. I should just read the back of the book. So she ends up finding like a rural fishing town in Canada, and she is supposed to review like this very fancy, really big spa that is up there. Something gets switched around, and she ends up finding herself at this B&B. There is a very grumpy person there, and his name is Evan, and he is a fisherman. Yeah, if you're looking for just more of a lighthearted read. Now we're gonna finish off with Christina Lauren. First off, let's get it out of the way. Love in Other Words. There's no way that this one couldn't be on there. And this is about Macy and Elliot, and they grew up together, and it is a past and present timeline, and they haven't seen each other in like over 10 years, I believe. Macy and her dad used to own the cabin next to Elliot's family, and Macy and her dad would go up there most weekends. Elliot and Macy went from being obsessed with each other to cutting contact. So we finally get to figure out why. The cabin setting, it's so cozy. There is a different cover now. This one, I wouldn't like highly recommend it out of their backlist, but it is like a fun little adventure, and that is Something Wilder, and it is a second chance romance. Lily is a travel guide through this, I think Utah. It's a travel guide through this Utah canyon where people can ride horses, they take a trail and camp and all of that. One of the guys ends up being a guy she was head over heels with that used to work at her ranch growing up, and they were in love, and then he ghosted her. There is also a little bit of a treasure hunt here because her dad was obsessed with treasure hunting. There was a plot twist I did not enjoy. I really didn't think it was necessary. Nonetheless, it was a fun read, fun little adventure. The Unhoneymooners. Olive is a twin, and her sister is getting married, and everybody in the wedding party besides Olive and the best man, Ethan, who that's her nemesis. They are enemies. They end up not eating the shellfish at this wedding. Honeymoon is non-refundable, so her twin is just like, please just go. And so Olive and Ethan end up going on this honeymoon and have to pretend to be the newlyweds. The last book that I have for you guys is The Paradise Problem. Very, very wealthy people, like think Crazy Rich Asians, wealthy people mixed with the Unhoneymooners in the sense of going on this tropical island for a wedding. Anna and Liam ended up getting married in college for a housing situation. Anna was under the assumption that they were divorced. Turns out they're not. And in order for Liam to gain his inheritance, he has to remain married for a certain amount of years or whatever. So everybody thinks that Anna and Liam are still married, except Anna. She is clueless. She is a really funny character too. Liam comes to her. Please come to my sister's wedding with me. We need to pretend that we're married because we are. And she's like, oh, okay. The island descriptions are really fun. The family is something else, that's for sure. It's really fun. I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I did. I went into it completely blind, and I'm so happy I did because I had such a great time with it. Hopefully, out of the 25 books that I discussed, you could at least find a couple that sound of interest to you that you haven't read. I know some of these are much more common in especially the booktube book talk world, but it would also be great if you could recommend some books down in the comments below that give this vacation-y vibe feeling too. I would really appreciate it because I would love to read a few more this summer, sneak some in. Feel free to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any other future recommendation videos, other bookish content, and feel free to like this video. I would really appreciate it. And with that being said, respect others, respect yourself, and do something amazing with your day. Thanks, bye!